In the velvet blackness of the void, 600 kilometers above the gentle curve of Earth, a satellite glides.
It is a miracle of engineering, a vital node in the celestial network that holds our modern world together. Its solar panels catch unfiltered sunlight, powering sensors that gaze upon the planet and transmitters that whisper data. To the sleeping populations far below, it is an abstraction, a simple given, as reliable as the sunrise. But tonight, in this completely silent, frictionless domain, the satellite has now become a designated, vulnerable target.
There is no visible explosion. No massive debris cloud blossoms in the darkness. This attack is something new.
There is only a sudden, electronic whisper, a surge of focused energy from a hidden ground station.
Or perhaps it comes from another, shadowier satellite lurking just over the horizon, a predator in orbit. The satellite's data stream, once a torrent of vital information, immediately turns into corrupted, useless digital noise.
Its internal commands become completely erratic.
Below, in a military command center, a screen suddenly flickers from operational green to a critical red.
A vital link in the entire global chain has just been severed, breaking the connection in an instant.
This is not some imagined scene from a distant science fiction future. This is the new, modern fight.
This is the front line of the new great power conflict, a war fought in total, absolute silence.
It is a war for the signals that define human existence in the rapidly advancing 21st century. We have built a civilization utterly dependent on an invisible, yet completely essential, technological infrastructure. From the GPS guiding a van, to global financial transactions, to a nation's secure nuclear deterrent.
We are a species reliant on the orbital high ground. This reliance is our greatest strength, and it has now become our most profound and most dangerous and most pressing vulnerability.
The battles of the past were fought for territory, for physical resources, for competing terrestrial ideologies.
The battle of tomorrow, a battle already underway in classified shadows, is for control of the spectrum. It is for dominance of low Earth orbit and the ability to turn the lights off on society. This is the story of the Orbital Gambit, the race to weaponize the void, and the clandestine struggle. A struggle to achieve electronic supremacy, where a single lost signal could mean the end of an empire. To understand the stakes, one must first look up. The space above our heads is not empty. It is a tiered, meticulously organized battle space. In low Earth orbit, or LEO, thousands of satellites race. This is the domain of surveillance, the realm of the spy satellite, the Earth imaging constellation.
It is also, increasingly, the domain of communication, with mega-constellations like Starlink promising global connectivity. Further out, in MEO, orbits the beating heart of our civilization, the Global Positioning System, or GPS.
And further still, in geostationary orbit, 36,000 kilometers high, massive
These are the critical communication hubs, the early warning systems that watch for a missile launch.
For decades, this orbital architecture was seen as a sanctuary. That era is definitively over.
The People's Republic of China, in a bold and controversial test, launched an SC-19 missile.
Its target was one of its own defunct weather satellites, a craft named the Fengyun-1C. The missile did not carry an explosive warhead, because at orbital velocities, it simply didn't need one.
At these incredible speeds, a simple collision is catastrophic, a hypervelocity impact of unimaginable destructive force.
The impact completely pulverized the satellite, instantly creating a massive cloud of over 3,000 trackable pieces.
This cloud also contained hundreds of thousands of smaller, untrackable fragments, a deadly field of space shrapnel.
This cloud of metal, traveling 10 times faster than a rifle bullet, spread rapidly throughout low Earth orbit. It became a permanent hazard to every other object in orbit, including China's own National Space Station. Russia demonstrated its own prowess with its Noodle Gazelle system, conducting a similar test in 2021.
That test again generated a dangerous debris field, forcing astronauts on the International Space Station to shelter.
The United States, too, possessed this capability, demonstrated in 2008 with a modified SM-3 missile. This kinetic war, however, is a brute force approach. It creates the one thing all nations dread, Kessler syndrome.
This is the nightmare scenario, a runaway chain reaction that could render low Earth orbit unusable for generations.
This is why the true war in space, the conflict being waged right now, is not kinetic.
It is electronic. It is silent, invisible, and far more insidious. This is electronic warfare, or EW.
Why shatter a billion-dollar satellite when you can simply render it useless with a targeted beam of energy?
The masters of this new domain are targeting the satellite signal, fought across the electromagnetic spectrum.
Let us first consider jamming. Jamming is the electronic equivalent of shouting. A hostile actor can flood a frequency.
This is downlink jamming. A soldier's GPS receiver is overwhelmed, his blue dot on the map vanishes.
This tactic has been used extensively in Ukraine, with both sides crippling drone communications. Jamming is crude, but effective. Spoofing, however, is a digital art form. It is the electronic infiltration.
Instead of merely blocking a signal, a spoofer fakes it. The most vulnerable target for this is GPS.
A spoofer transmits a new signal, slightly more powerful than the real one, that tricks the receiver.
In 2017, over 20 ships in the Black Sea
suddenly showed their location as being miles inland.
Now, extrapolate this. Imagine an adversary spoofing the GPS signal for a US Navy destroyer.
A spoofer could, in theory, subtly walk a precision-guided bomb off its intended target, causing it to miss. What about a squadron of autonomous drones, all being led into a trap or directed to crash? The third pillar of this assault is sensor blinding, or dazzling, targeting military ISR platforms.
A low-power laser can temporarily blind the sensor, forcing it to shut down to protect itself.
This creates a window of opportunity, a period of blindness during which sensitive operations can be conducted.
A high-power laser, however, can go a step further. It can permanently fry the sensor's delicate electronics.
The satellite isn't destroyed. It creates no debris, but its multi-billion-dollar mission is over. This silent war has triggered a frantic arms race. The new GPS M-code signal is a critical development.
Its broadcast on new frequencies is encrypted and have far more power, making it harder to jam.
But it requires a complete overhaul. Every single receiver in every single tank, ship, and plane must be replaced. Other hardening techniques involve a sophisticated antenna technology, which can electronically null a jamming signal.
But the most revolutionary shift has come from the commercial sector, pioneered by SpaceX's Starlink constellation.
The old paradigm was exquisite satellites, few in number, like an orbital battleship. This new model deploys tens of thousands of cheaper, mass-produced satellites. This is a distributed architecture.
The military implications, first demonstrated in the Ukraine conflict, are profound, a true game changer.
When Russia attempted to jam Starlink, SpaceX engineers countered it, reportedly in mere hours, with software.
This distributed network shatters the old ASAT model. How can you destroy a network of 40,000 satellites?
If one satellite is destroyed, or jammed, or fails, the data simply reroutes. The network heals itself. The US Space Force has embraced this proliferated LEO concept as the future of military space. It represents a fundamental shift from trying to build an impregnable satellite to building a resilient network. China, recognizing this, is in a frantic race to build its own rival mega-constellation, GuoWang. However, this new model is not without its own vulnerabilities. The ground segment is not resilient. Russian electronic warfare units can detect the terminal's emissions and target it with precision artillery strikes. A far more clandestine conflict is unfolding in the deep, dark, and dangerous shadows of Earth's orbit. This is the world of inspector satellites, robotic space stalkers, causing profound anxiety for intelligence agencies.
For years, Russia has launched a series of mysterious satellites, often categorized as inspectors or servicing vehicles.
These satellites demonstrate an unsettling capability. They can maneuver, unlike most satellites, in a fixed, stable orbit.
These inspectors can change their altitude and inclination, allowing them to cozy up to other objects.
Afghanistan. A notable example was a Russian object, Cosmos 2542, which deployed a smaller sub-satellite.
This new satellite then maneuvered to closely inspect a top-secret US national reconnaissance satellite.
The inspection is, of course, a euphemism. From this close-in position, what can such a satellite do?
But the true fear lies in the what if. What if this inspector is not just a spy?
Or it could simply carry a robotic arm, capable of grabbing the target or snapping off an antenna.
The consequences of this orbital gambit cascade directly down to the mud-caked boots of the infantry soldier.
For 3 decades, Western military doctrine has been built on network-centric warfare, on total information dominance.
What happens when the network fails? What happens to the net-centric soldier when his GPS cuts out? War games conducted by the Pentagon to simulate a day without space have produced terrifying, chaotic results. Pilots, trained to rely on digital blue dot trackers, are forced to navigate with paper maps.
The war in Ukraine has been a brutal, real-world laboratory for this reality. We see the promise.
And the billion-dollar drones, like the Global Hawk, rendered ineffective near the front lines.
This has triggered a back-to-basics movement within Western militaries, training in celestial navigation.
The soldier of the future must be a hybrid, capable of operating advanced systems one moment,
and fighting effectively with nothing but a rifle and his wits the next moment, in total silence.
As we stand on this precipice, the technological horizon is already blurring with even more exotic concepts.
The future of orbital combat will be a war of the algorithms, with dueling AIs fighting. At the same time, the science of seeing in space is evolving. Quantum technology promises to upend.
Quantum communications promise a new form of unhackable encryption. Any attempt to intercept it breaks the link.
This entire, sprawling conflict is unfolding in a frightening legal and political vacuum.
The 1967 Outer Space Treaty is a relic. It bans weapons of mass destruction, but says nothing.
It says nothing about ground-based lasers, inspector satellites, or devastating, debilitating cyber attacks.
This has led to urgent discussions. Does a large-scale electronic attack on space assets trigger Article 5?
This is the New World War.
A war that will be won or lost in the silent battle for the signal.